and Barbara Lee, as you know, in the Congressional Black Caucus. Then we have elected by the members. There are 3 leaders on the messaging. Hakeem Jeffries, wow, he's so fabulous. David Cicilline, a leader in the LGBTQ community, and just an incredible woman from Illinois is in the lead in terms of what we're doing. So we have women, minorities, and the rest. And then the people who are been elected by Colleen Hanabuso, she's Japanese-American, is the representative of the freshmen. One of the elected from the group is Tony Cardenas, who's in there. And I didn't say Sherry Bustos' name, but Sherry Bustos from the Midwest, representing rural America as we do our messaging. So we have a very, very diverse caucus. And by the way, I'm a woman at the top of it. But just say that our reason I did Eric Swalwell is Eric is going around the country with our 30-somethings. Grace Meng, who's now one of the vice chairs, along with Keith Ellison of the Democratic National Committee, are doing so many things at the grassroots level. But Grace Meng is part of the 30-somethings group that's going around the country listening to the college students, the rest, as the people closest to their age. And they'll be very much a part of putting together the message, because, as you said, it's a diverse group. And some of these people, you know, I listen to them all over the country too, and they've said to me, we really rather people listen to us rather than coming in and saying, here's a movie star, now vote the way he or she wants you to vote. Yeah. The young people, they're very straightforward in all of that.
Well, and I think one of the other big concerns that people have is voter suppression. This next question is about that, and it is, what is the Democratic Party planning to do about voter suppression in the upcoming elections in 2018 and 2020?
This is really important. Thank you for the question, and I just want to relate it to what happened in the specials that happened. But first, let me directly answer the question. About 14, 15 months ago, Terry McAuliffe, who's the who at the time was the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association, now he's the chairman of the Governors Association, he said, you know, you and I have a shared mission, that is to elect more Democrats to the Congress and more governors to the state houses and more state legislatures. So we should be working in a more collaborative fashion. We put together a program to do this, took it to the convention. It was about stopping voter suppression, which is happening in these states so blatantly and almost with pridefully. You know, I feel like when you go to heaven, you very devout people, when you go to heaven and you see our founders there, how are you going to say to them, I did everything in my power to make sure people couldn't vote in a democracy? It's shameful what they're doing. It is shameful, whether it's limiting the number of voting places, limiting the hours, limiting the early voting that could go in. It's shameful what they're doing. So in any event, President Obama became interested. Of course, we thought we'd be operating under President Hillary Clinton at this time, but all the more reason for this to happen. So the president has tasked Eric Holder, Attorney General Holder, to be his sort of representative at the table, and he's chairing our efforts. It's about what I said earlier, voter suppression, redistricting. Some of the states are ripened to go to court. The suppression is some electoral process of electing state legislatures and governors. And of course, all of this to elect a Democratic Senate and Democratic House. But the purpose of the group is not just political, it's patriotic. Because this isn't about Democrats or Republicans, it's about our system, it's about our democracy. And we don't want to go in there and do to them what they did to us. We're saying, no, just have an objective redistricting, whether that's by commission or whether it's by having it very clear from the courts what judgments they will make if the redistricting is too political or is too racial. Because what they do racially is that. Now, how it relates to these races. Now, I just want to say this because some of you maybe brought these questions and they haven't come forth yet. These elections were districts we would never have chosen. They were overwhelmingly Republican, but they were chosen by Donald Trump. when he selected his cabinet, it was with the idea that certainly Republicans would be elected to fill those seats. The public would not just stand by. We were not running away from any fights, so working together, these races took place. It's important to note this. While we came close in Georgia and South Carolina, and in Kansas, we took off almost 30 points, 25 points from what they had done in the previous election. It was around 71, let's say over 70, but around 71 points that we had cut back their margins. Now, that wasn't enough to win the seats, but it's a great deal for those Democrats in those states as they go out to do state legislative races and their governor's races, as well as running again in Congress, who made all of those, which were double-digit, 20, 30 points advantage in the previous election, to 6 or 7 points or 2 or 3 points. And these are now races that we may take a look at. But some of them will be impossible unless there's fair redistricting.
Right.
And so in some of those states that are ripened, and I won't say what they are now because that's up to the stealth. When the time comes, the states will be announced as to where we will go. But it is about making your best case, probably ending up in the Supreme Court on all of those things. And the voter suppression is you know what one of the biggest suppressors of the vote is? In addition to mechanics that they use, and like in Virginia, they say you have to fax your photo ID. Who has a fax machine anyway?
Right.
You have to fax your photo ID. One of the biggest suppressors of the vote is big, dark money in politics. It just suffocates the airways. And then people are like, well, I don't know. You know, they're saying this, they're saying that. I don't know. It just turns people off.
Yep.
Who should be voting.
So this is the final question of our evening tonight, and it is, Speaker Pelosi, and you might have been able to anticipate this one, are we ever going to have a woman president? And this person would like suggestions, names of who that might be.
Are we ever? I always thought that the American people are so much more ready for a woman president than the pecking order in the Congress for over 200 years would ever be for a woman speaker. The Speaker is the third president, vice president, Speaker of the House. It's a constitutional office, and it is very important. Most people don't really realize it, and I don't know that I was busy working. I should have been celebrating it more or something to say, look how important I am. But here's the thing. In the Congress, it's like, for 200 years, they've been standing in line, I'm next. And we got in line and said, hey, wait a minute, we've been waiting over 200 years, so don't tell us it's not our time. So I thought the American people were much farther ahead than the Congress in that, and that they would be more receptive. It's hard. We have, look at the entire Senate, look at our women governors, look at some of our members in the House of Representatives. It's no longer that you have to be this, that, or the other thing. Look what happened in the last election. So somebody we may not even be thinking of could emerge in that way. But we have to, in the press, there has to be some more receptivity to the fact that a woman can be president. Shouldn't buy into some of these arguments, a woman commander-in-chief. How many times did I hear that? A woman commander-in-chief? Yeah, a woman commander-in-chief. We've had other men who have not served in the military to be president of the United States, as we can have a woman commander-in-chief. But how important it would have been. I'm just heartbroken about Hillary Clinton not being president. She was probably better prepared than her husband, certainly better prepared than George W. Bush, and really better prepared than Barack Obama in terms of her experience as a senator, as a Secretary of State, as a First Lady, all of the experience that she had. She happened to be a woman. And again, I say to women, this is not a zero-sum game. If one woman succeeds, it's not at your expense. It's not at your expense. If a woman succeeds, that helps all of us. All the communications I get from families saying, thank you for succeeding, because that opens another door for my daughter. So I think the younger generation of women is more receptive to the success of other women. But the fact that so many women did not vote for Hillary Clinton,
well,
when he was the candidate, I mean, I can't even go to that place. But let me just go back to how you get to the White House. You know how they say, can you give me direction? How do I get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice. How do they get to the White House? It's not just you run now. Just be ready. And I say to the women, you really must run. As they say back to me, why would I run if I'm going to subject myself to what you're subjected to?
Right.
I don't want that for my family. And I said, don't worry, just know your purpose. What is your purpose? What is your vision for our country? What do you have inside of you that has all the authenticity and the uniqueness that is you? So what is your purpose? As my daughter Christine gives me a speech every day. She is always, you know your purpose. What is your vision? What is your knowledge of the subject? If you're motivated, as I am, by the 1 in 5 children in America who lives in poverty, that just drives my engine. I pray for them in the morning, at night, work for them all day. What is that driving thing? What do you know about it? Is it climate? Is it income inequality? Is it education? What is that? Or a couple of different things. But know your subject. Know your horizon, your vision. Know your subject. Have a plan. This is how I think to get it done, how it can attract other people. If you have a vision, you have knowledge, and your judgment is respected, and you have a plan to get something done, no matter how modest. Don't make it too much. Make it achievable. You will attract support. And when the connection of your authenticity, your determination, women, young women, it's so, not even young, women, I went from the kitchen to Congress when my children were grown. I was in my middle 40s, which they said I came to Congress at a late stage in life, and I think, oh my God. I wasn't thinking of it that way, but nonetheless. But the guys come in their early 30s.
Right.
So that's, and they get seniority sooner and that. So please think about it. Know your power. Don't let anybody, young women of all ages in the audience, and men too. I mean, this is not to say women are better than men. We need the mix. The beauty is at the mix at the table. And when you make that decision to go, don't let anybody diminish who you are. I say this in friendship. Don't let anybody diminish who you are.
Well, Leader Pelosi, I will tell you, we didn't get a name out of you. We'll have to get you to tweet out some names of ideas of candidates. We're going to end there. Do you want to quickly throw out a couple of names of people you would like to see run?
Well, when you name names, you don't name them all, and that's the problem.
That's true.
But I have every confidence that there are a wealth of people. But we have to prepare. We have to prepare the arena we're sending this person into.
Absolutely.
So that in the press and in the public perception and in the country, that people know what a statement this would make in the world and what a message it would send to our daughters, our granddaughters, that anything is possible for them. But you know what? It's going to be a woman who happens to be a woman who's very, very qualified.
Indeed.
And we have many candidates who could meet that test.
Well, Leader Pelosi, I want to thank you. Thank you all for your great questions. Thank you to the 92nd Street Y. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your night.